Welcome to Shifting from Grudge to Grit, Grace, and Gratitude. I'm Anissa Teron, and as usual, my gorgeous co-host Jamila is with us, and a very interesting man today is joining us by the name of Michael Coyle. And the topic is even more intriguing than Michael himself. We're going to be talking around life alignment, which is a transformative healing system that empowers you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jamila just to greet, and then we'll read Michael's. Michael will say hello to everyone, and then we'll read his bio afterwards.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Friday afternoon with Anissa and I. And thank you so much, Anissa, for that lovely welcome. Always so lovely to meet with you. And today is especially significant because we have my good friend Michael with us, and he's going to be enlightening all of the listeners on life alignment. And it is such a transformative, life-changing journey that I've gone on with Michael, and it really, I can't wait for him to share this with you. So please do ask lots of questions. Michael is very well informed about this, you've done this now for like 20 plus years, Michael.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me on your show. Really honored. I love your title, Grudge, Grit, Grace and Gratitude. Really amazing, and that's actually what life alignment is all about. Actually, I've been doing this for over 24 years now, 25 next year, and it's really about getting you in alignment with that grace, gratitude space, and it's a really powerful technique to get you there.
Yeah,
I love that.
Anissa, as Michael is speaking, I'm just finding it so absolutely incredible that he mentions that he's been doing this work for 24 years, going on 25, but it's such purposeful work. And you are so blessed, Michael, to have found this and have been doing this, for this many years, not just for yourself, but I felt the incredible benefit that I have received through meeting you out of this. So, it's just amazing. It's so wonderful to observe that you are living in your purpose and that you are helping so many people in this journey that you're on.
Yeah, thank you, Jamila. It's really, sometimes I think about, shouldn't I just get a normal job? But that will never ever work because I just feel like there's something in me that just needs to be helping people on with their transformation, and I love it. I work with people and helping them in programs, but my speciality is also helping businesses. I really help businesses to come into alignment with their purpose, to help their team come into alignment with each other. And that's really powerful because things, I don't know if you've noticed, they're changing. Yeah, things are changing. People are different. We're thinking different. We're acting different. Our lives are different. Business is different. Our homes are different. And if we are not adapting and going into that space of grit, grace, and gratitude, we're just going to be left behind, and it's just going to be grudge, suffering.
Michael, I love, we didn't even go into your formal bio, but you've touched on parts of it. But I'd love to just formally introduce the work that you do to at least honor that. So for those that have just joined on Instagram or on YouTube and that are here with us on LinkedIn, Michael Coyle is a business strategist, team builder, and keynote speaker with more than 25 years of experience. He's the founder of the Move Effect. Oh, I can't wait to hear about this. Helping companies and people get moving from feeling blocked or stuck. The Move Effect not only assists in getting business and life moving, but can actually monitor and chart your progress in the company and the people that work there. So very interesting. And I'm keen to just get an understanding of if we could take a few steps back to more than 2 decades, so 25 years ago, where you started in your hero's journey, because there was a call to adventure and you accepted this quest, or you refused it? And what made you accept the quest in the end?
Oh, wow. This is like The Alchemist. Oh, wow. Feels like I'm going full circle here. Where do I begin? It actually started when I owned nightclubs. I had really popular
Wow.
nightclubs in Johannesburg, yes. Really popular one was ESP and a few other smaller ones. And eventually I sold those and went traveling around the world, to the States, to Europe, and somehow landed up in India. And against my will, didn't really want to go, but found myself there and didn't go to any ashram, didn't meet any guru, didn't do anything, but something fundamental shifted in me. The way I viewed life shifted. I came from America where I was standing in queues with kids in Disney World that were really overweight and unhappy and, just so discontent with life. And then I went to India and there were these kids playing in the streets in Delhi and all over India playing cricket and they were happy. And it was such a contrast. And something really shifted. I became vegetarian. I came back to South Africa and ate a very bad vegetarian diet. And so took an interest in nutrition. And as I started studying nutrition, my energy levels increased. I felt a lot more just lust for life. And so I studied a whole lot of other modalities, therapies. I had a health shop. And then eventually I found life alignment. It was the end of 1999. And as I studied that, something just kind of like took over. And I've been doing life alignment for 24 years as a full-time job. And that's moved me all the way to the move effect, which I incorporate with life alignment and a whole lot of other techniques to get people moving, to get them unblocked, so many people feel stuck. They don't know which direction to go to. They don't know how. So the first part is to let's see where you are and let's help you just like shake things up again. Once we shake things up again, it's very important that you move forward from the right space. And that's in alignment. And what do you move forward in that alignment is in your being, in your truth, in your authenticity, feeling connected to yourself, to the people around you, to the world, to the greater good, God, whatever you want to call it. And you've got to be in alignment. And then when you get into that space and we move into alignment in from that space, life takes a different turn. I know in my personal experience, things become really magical, powerful, and the universe connects with you. It feels like it. You feel completely different. You start to understand and interpret the world in a different way. And I don't say it becomes easier because there's always going to be challenges, but life becomes way more fulfilling, way more meaningful, way more purposeful, and it's just really a better place to live in from that space. So that's my little journey of where I've come from. I know I'm paying all the karma from my nightclub days, paying for my sins. But I suppose that's the way life is, we have to balance it all out.
Mm. Such an intriguing story. I mean, like full circle. It's like a full circle moment. And what I'm hearing you say is, let me pay it forward in terms of my own journey. And seeing that disparity in India was the catalyst from what I'm hearing you say. And that catalyst was where this whole journey sort of that you embarked on to say, okay, so what do I need to deal with within the disparities within myself, first and foremost? What are those demons or villains that I need to, slay within myself in order to get that let be type of lifestyle. I call it let be and let go because
Mm.
we tend to want to do all the time. So what I want to ask is, in terms of life alignment, is it shifting away? And I'm not educated in this in any shape or form for those that are listening in. So I'm asking as a avid learner from the cradle to the grave as well. Please enlighten us what this means. Is it just letting go? Is it being aware of when you are in ego and in attachment and shifting and not wanting to control so that we can better manifest that we want for our lives?
Oh, if only it was easy as just letting go. That would
Mm.
be amazing. But you know what? When we say, just get into alignment, come into purpose, be yourself, all of that type of stuff, it all sounds so easy. It all sounds so, oh, well, we can just do that. But we fail to realize that we come in with these belief systems, we come in with patterns, we come in with a whole host of stories that we buy into, not only our personal stories, our beliefs, the way the family we were brought up in. And some of those are right and some of them are not right. It doesn't really matter. We still bring it all in. So the first step, and this is where life alignment, the technique, the process is so powerful. It's just to help us identify those patterns, those beliefs. So when you come for a session, we start by putting you probably on a therapist's bed and then going in, asking your body to get information from your body. Once we have some information from your body, we find out what emotional and mental story is going on in the current space that you are dealing with. We can make up a little example that you're having trouble with your boss. Okay, that's great. So there's an authority that's giving you trouble. You may be not performing, whatever the story is, and we'll uncover that. Then the next step is we need to go back in time to find out what's the pattern that you're repeating here, and how and where does it come from. So using once again your body again, kinesiology, we find a time when you were younger, and then we'll find out what that story was. So we could go back to when you were 12 and you were in school and you had trouble with your teacher. So we'll find out, okay, what was that about? Okay, teacher hated me, gave me trouble. I was trying to do my best, but he always put me down. And then we kind of link it to, hey, wait a minute, what's happening with your boss? Same situation going on. So it's not the teacher and it's not the boss. It's actually the pattern that we keep on bringing into our life, that we keep on repeating. So we first go and we have a process of clearing the pattern from the beginning, from the teacher. When we get insight on how that was cleared, we bring it to the present and we deal with the boss. And we find out how best to deal with the boss. So what happens then is we get some kind of clarity, we get some kind of guidance, we bring you into alignment with who you are, we bring you into your truth about the situation. And then what happens when you go to work the next day or Monday, you view your boss completely different. You view yourself completely different. And that creates what we call a shift. And when the shift happens, life becomes easier. You might find that you actually like your boss. You might find that the things that he said were valid. You might find that you definitely don't like your boss and you need to move and you make that step and find another job. So this is how the shift works. You take your own time. Sometimes it happens quickly and instantly. Sometimes it can take its time until it's clear. But that's the power of the process. And once we have enough patterns broken, we automatically slowly start to come into more and more alignment with our truth, our purpose, and our way. And we find that we have less bosses around us, we have more allies around us, we find that we have less of those kind of teachers around us, and we start resonating with the people that really fulfill ourselves and our hearts. So that's a beautiful process, and it's extremely powerful. And not just a relaxing massage, if I can put it that way.
So, Michael, you mentioned earlier on that people are shifting and changing, and becoming more aware, educating themselves about the different modalities that are around, and where it concerns spirituality and consciousness and enlightenment and all the rest of it. What has
Yes.
been your experience in the because you have mentioned that you do work in the corporate space as well, and how have you found that shift where people are becoming more receptive to these types of strategies and treatments and information coming through? Because if you had to go back maybe 10-20 years, or you would know best about this here, your like the reaction that you would have gotten from a corporate individual to someone like me would be chalk and cheese, right? Because it would be kind of like woohoo stuff and too esoteric or whatever. How have you found that people's mindsets have shifted in relation to life alignment?
When I first started dealing with businesses, it's about 10, 12 years ago, and I started to do what we call business alignment, getting businesses into alignment, and presenting that to do a few case studies, always raised a few eyebrows. It was always, oh, wow, gee, how did he know that about our company and our staff, and he hasn't even seen our financial books? So it kind of like was a bit of a shock. But these days, I go and investigate a business, and I walk in, and the first thing they might ask me is like, "Are we going to do a meditation to start? Are we going to center ourselves?" It's really, really powerful that things have shifted so much, and these very powerful techniques have become not only accepted but appreciated in the corporate world. To be able to be mindful, to consider other people, to work as a team, to have compassion, to focus on everybody working towards a goal and a specific target, as opposed to picking on people and firing if they don't. There's just certain principles that if we bring it into the business world, it can be such an amazing place. For most of us, we spend most of our day and week at work. Why are we creating circumstances where we don't even want to be there? Why are we making it so difficult for ourselves? We should be creating, that should be like the second best place right after home. And I think that's where Google and some other companies are kind of getting it right, where we kind of have to have a little bit more fun, make it easy, make it joyful, work together. And those companies generally get better productivity, they get amazing people working for them. Yeah, that's just a change of mindset, a change of pattern.
Michael, Leanne's actually put quite a great question on there. As much as companies and organizations are taking that proactive leap towards creating those shifts and alignment for their employees for better engagement and retention, etc., etc., Leanne's point is, or question is actually valid. If the individuals are more intrinsically driven to make that change, maybe you want to just respond to her question. There are the instances in life or circumstances that lead us to seek out life alignment, particular age, point, or on that life path.
So what's really amazing, life alignment's been around for almost 30 years, and not many people actually know about it. You could talk about other modalities, body talk or Reiki or something like that, and oh yeah, I've been to that, seen this person, etc., etc. I have a coach and blah blah blah. And then you mention life alignment, and they go, "What's that?" I've never heard of it. It's so bizarre because life alignment is so different on so many levels. It's incredibly powerful. And we all know, as therapists, we know that when someone does eventually come to life alignment, first of all, they've been recommended 90% of the time. We get our work from recommendations. They've been recommended by someone, so obviously there's a trust in the process. And then when they do come, they are definitely at a very pivotal point in their life, a huge turning point. Most of the time, people investigate and start their process in life alignment where they're at the point where life is about to make a 360, about to shift some really, really powerful stuff. And so it doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter where you are in your life path, but and you don't have to become a therapist, obviously. But when you come for a session, generally people are there to really get some deep understanding of themselves, their purpose, the direction they need to move into, but most importantly, to really connect with inside who they really are and to live life from that space of authenticity. And I think
Michael, sorry. So, I'm hearing the session, which sounds like it's a therapeutic intervention, but then I'm also hearing purpose and living life by design. So it seems that there's a merging of the modalities of sorts or different modalities that's coming into play here, because on the one hand, you alluded to earlier that this is about the patterns, the conditioning, the programming, and the belief systems. So it's all the intergenerational traumas and wounds, etc., all these dark night of the soul experiences. But on the other hand, to bring it into alignment, it is, what does that truth look like? What does that divine essence within that authentic truth look like for who you want to become? But what is then how does this intervention play out if it's therapeutic but equally goal-driven and vision-driven in the traditional sense? I'm just trying to understand that for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally, I won't work with just a person for one session because there's no point. We'll get a nice experience and that'll be it. But you want to take people on a journey, and life alignment is often a journey. If it's for a business, for the home, or for an individual. And what happens with that journey is generally the first few sessions, and it depends on the person and what they've come through. The first three sessions is just about dealing with stuff, patterns, disasters, heartaches. It's just like releasing all of that stuff and letting it all go. I think you call it the grudge. It's about just understanding it, letting it go, releasing those patterns. And what happens about halfway in the process, or even towards the end of the process, somehow what we call the balances shift. The sessions shift, and they become more about connecting to your greater good, connecting to your purpose, expanding your heart, making yourself bigger, having more compassion, having more empathy. And it moves so beautifully into that space. So it's really powerful. And over the whole process, people go with me on a hero's journey. And I've had clients for 20 years, some of them. They don't see me all the time, but they're constantly coming to see me all because they keep on with that space. And even then, we often get out of alignment so quickly. Like even if we're quite like switched on, traffic can send us out of alignment. Someone like screaming, commotion, us getting involved in business that we shouldn't get involved in, bosses having a bad day, whatever it is, And we constantly need to come back to alignment, and we need something or someone to remind us. So, yeah, we can stand in the garden and ground ourselves. We can go for yoga. We can go for Reiki. And life alignment is just like right back there. Brings you right back into your center, right back into your core. And now you're very powerful. and you're ready to tackle the world again. And that's the maintenance that I see my clients for. So it's
So
a journey.
yeah, Anissa, we've had the pleasure of having Michael come and speak to us, on our monthly Shift Happens meetings. And he came and he did a demonstration, and one of the ladies volunteered to come up, and she lay on the bed. And there are times when you feel like you're out of alignment. You can feel it, emotionally. You can feel it spiritually. And we often don't realize that we also physically out of alignment. And when we had her lay on the bed, all of us were standing around her, and Michael checked the different body parts, and you could actually see the difference in the balance, right, Michael? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
In that, in the process of that energy healing, he did not even touch any part of her body. But by the time that he had finished, when he had checked again, every part of her body had been aligned. So it's amazing to experience, it's amazing to see, it's amazing to observe. But another thing that I'd like to mention, and maybe you can just speak a little bit more about it, Michael, is that when you can do life alignment sessions one-on-one, but you can also do them in a group setting. And the beauty I've found of the group setting is that whatever the person who is, whose focus is on at that time, whatever issues they are experiencing at that particular time, we find the commonalities in us as well. And as they are going through that session of healing, we find ourselves moving through those healing levels as well. Maybe you can just speak a little bit more about that, Michael.
Yeah, group work is absolutely incredible. That's why it's so nice when we're dealing with teams, and when we have workshops that are dedicated to manifestation or something like that. And just to clarify what Jamila was saying is that when we put the person on a bed, I test their body to see how in alignment it is. So their shoulders need to be in alignment, their hips need to be in alignment, the feet needs to be alignment. That just means that everything kind of like works up in alignment. So when you get onto the bed, most people are generally a little bit out. So you can see the fingertips don't line up. And then once we've done the process, naturally, I don't even touch the body at all. The body becomes completely in alignment. Hips, shoulders, knees, and ankles. So it's really powerful that people are amazed that it actually does that. And so what happens in a group is if you find yourself in a life alignment session, if it's attending someone private or in a group, by default, whatever is your pattern, whatever you need to do is what's going to be revealed in the group. So many times we have, if we're doing it online or in a live session, we'll have someone on the bed, but the person that it's actually meant for was too afraid to come up, and they're in the audience. So what happens is that we balance it, but we actually balance every single person there. And we'll ask, okay, let's have a look and let's see. Today on the bed, the lady said, I had trouble with my boss. We'll just use that example again. And then I'll go around the room and I'll say, who else had trouble with the boss? And everyone will put up their hand. And that's how it works. And we'll clear it and we'll go back to age 12. And most people will say, oh my God, I also had a teacher like that. I also had a teacher. So we all you come into that session with a similar pattern and a similar frequency so that you can get the healing or the clearing that you need from that session. Really powerful.
Oh my gosh, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
So in essence, I'm hearing you saying, yeah?
Just one more thing that I'd like you to add to that, and this is from my personal experience that I've had with life alignment, and the work that Michael has done with us, is that it's such an amalgamation, I feel, of theta healing as well as family constellations. Because when we were doing the course with Michael, um, I think my son was very fortunate because he was used as the guinea pig. But it's amazing about how so many of my issues were transferred onto my son's behaviors and beliefs, and insecurities. And Michael was able to just unpack and uncover and bring to the surface all of this. But it was incredible, just that connection and understanding, and kind of like an aha moment of where things were coming from and why he was behaving the way that he was behaving, and the connection that it had to me, and from me going back to my mom, and going back generations like that. And what I found absolutely so astounding was how quickly these connections were being made, or these realizations had come into being. So it's absolutely, like I said, totally transformational, and just astounding to actually experience.
And what was really such an incredible thing with your son, Jamila, was that I had to keep it light because everyone was studying the foundation, so I didn't have the time to go deep. But you said, like, for the first time, he opened up in front of you, which was
Yes.
quite profound. And so it just has the ability to just allow people to be in a safe space, to just acknowledge things, to see things, to work through things, and to shift them in such a small space of time. And that was really
Exactly.
powerful.
Yeah, exactly. In such a small space of time. But I do have to acknowledge this, Michael, is that I've studied a lot of things and I found so many benefits in the different modalities and with the teachers themselves. But Anissa, like I said, you can't do this remotely. If when we're doing another session with Michael, it would be so fantastic if you could join us, because I'd love for you to feel the presence of Michael. So my son has been very, very introverted, very, he doesn't share his feelings, doesn't talk too much. He's that I'm a man and I can deal with stuff.
Yes.
We've had shift happens now running for about 2 years now, and we've had incredible people. But like Michael said, this is the first time ever that Muhammad actually opened up in such a short space of time. So the impact of the life alignment, just as a modality in itself, was incredible. But I must acknowledge, Michael, that this had a huge part to do solely with you, and just your presence, just the comfort and the ease in which somebody can be vulnerable in your space. You give that to people. So I just want to acknowledge and thank you for that.
Thank you. Yes, but
That's beautiful. That's
yeah,
really beautiful, the acknowledgement, Michael. I was going to ask, what does the role of the facilitator then play in this? Because if it's an energetic vibration and you were able to shift her son so quickly, and it's, I mean, I have also a son, and I have two sons. They're both very different. The one is loud and open and extroverted. The other one is kind of in between, but will not necessarily open up. So, what is the secret magic recipe? Is it
yeah.
creating that psychological safety and trust? Or is there something more that is your secret, that it comes through to your authenticity that ignites that in them to want to feel free?
I have been doing this for so long that people can trust me. I mean, I'm not going to
Yeah.
share deep, dark secrets with anyone. And I tell them right in the beginning, also when we start, we're just going to get information from your body. I'm not going to go into your mind and discover things like some mysterious magician or something like that. So we're just going to be natural and normal. I use their body and kinesiology to get information from the body. So already there, they're kind of like, okay, I can feel this. I can feel that there's something going on in my heart space, you know, with my body, with my heart, whatever. And, and then when I find what we call keywords, we have keywords, and the keyword could be anger. And we tap it into the top of the head. And when I tap that anger into the top of the head, it's almost like something triggers inside of the person, and suddenly they immediately know what that anger is all about. It's quite powerful. It's quite powerful. And then immediately you'll tap the anger, and the first thing they'll say, my boss, you know, and then I can investigate it. And then I can ask questions like, okay, what's your boss done? Are you angry with him, or is he angry with you? And we find out what the story is. And that's the secret.
We need the bosses in the room too, hey, Michael?
Yeah,
it seems like
course.
there's evidence that we need all these bosses and leaders in the room. So I like that you've taken this to the corporates as well. But how do we invite more of them into your space to change the narrative and paradigm?
We can tap them on the head. Yeah, exactly. We need people. And then once we've got that story, I think then people know that it's okay. They feel, okay, it's out, it's there. And now I can go find the pattern. And then I'll go find the pattern in the past. I mean, we didn't even do pattern work with you guys, Jamila, because we didn't go into past yet. But just staying in the present and just clearing things in the present was powerful enough. So we can do it both ways. But when it goes really, really deep and we're really uncovering deeper patterns and belief systems, and what we call telling myself, we have belief systems where we tell ourselves, you know, and people grow up in environments where they tell themselves the world is a horrible place, the world is evil, the world is this and this and that. And when we break these huge belief systems down, and we get people to realize, wait a minute, the world's a beautiful place. The world is safe. I'm safe. I'm okay. Everyone's okay. This is really beautiful. And when you start believing in that, guess what life does? It shows you that. And then their life becomes a little bit more joyful, a little bit more easier. And then they do some more work and it gets even more joyful, a little bit more easier. And so it goes on. And it's not about the challenges, because I was driving in a car a few weeks ago, and a friend of mine was sitting next to me, and someone cut us off, and he starts screaming and shouting, and I was, okay, just carry on. And then the second robot, he says, why didn't you even get angry? And I was so taken aback. It was like, he noticed this, and I was like, why must I get angry? First of all, I'm not going to lose my peace over what happened, because my peace is my highest priority. Secondly, I didn't even notice that that was a thing. That wasn't even in my radar. It wasn't even in my consciousness. I was looking at the beautiful things on the side of the road and carrying on with my day, didn't even take notice. And I think that's what it does. That's what we mean by being in alignment. When you're in alignment with that, life shows up differently. You start to see flowers, you start to smell the fresh air, you start to enjoy things. There's no pressure, there's no, angst, there's no worry, anxiety. Obviously, sometimes there is. I'm not going to say it's all easy, but it's a lot less. And life's a lot more enjoyable. So the work that you put in is so much more rewarding, and the reward at the end of that work is so much more deeper, more meaningful. And that's the beauty of doing this process or any healing work. There's very nice healing modalities, and I do life alignment because I resonate with it. But gee whiz, I've had people saying beautiful things about theta, people saying beautiful things about the conscious bars. Reiki always, people still have powerful experiences with Reiki. I've had beautiful experiences with business coaches. So it doesn't matter the modality. What's really, really important is that we have to put the work in. We have to find those patterns. We have to break them down so that we can find grace. And it's grace that helps us to stay in alignment.
Well said. So tell me, for people who are curious, but they may not be ready to fully dive into life alignment, maybe can you give them some small practices or tools that they can start with to experience small shifts in energy and alignment within themselves?
Sure, let's see. So standing on your head for 5 minutes is always good. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. So there's so many ways that you can get into alignment. The first is I think you have to make a decision that you're tired of being stuck. You're tired of being in the same place. You're tired of having the same patterns repeat because you consciously, even if you don't fully consciously know they're there, you are on some level aware that there's stuff blocking you, that there's things that you need to deal with, that there's just certain things in your life that's not working. So the first thing you have to do is you have to make a decision that I need to change. I need to change something. And that's incredibly important. The second
Michael,
thing,
I want.
hmm,
Sorry. Go ahead with the second thing before I go ahead and interject.
okay, well, the second thing is then you need to decide, okay, am I going to get some help? As in, am I going to find someone that I can trust and that I can work with? If you're not ready to open up to someone else, then you're going to have to go and find books. You're going to have to go and do some research. Go on the internet and find out how do I change patterns? How do I break belief systems? What do I need to do? Must I read Louise Hay? There's 500 things that you can start, and then you got to put some things in action. You got to move. The move effect is here, and that means you're going to have to find some kind of action that you're going to do. If it's walking, if it's meditating, if it's sitting for 10 minutes in the sun, if it's prayer, the right kind of prayer, if it's having a gratitude journal, if it's doing yoga, tai chi, if it's playing paddle, if it's whatever it is, to just take some action. And the minute the universe kind of feels that you are stepping up, it brings things towards you. The minute you step up, the universe now brings in one kind of healer, maybe someone who can help you. Maybe you need to attend a course. Maybe there's an online course. Maybe you need to do some training, and so on, that you kind of get the guidance and the support from the universe. And slowly and surely, you'll find your way to life alignment.
I see Leanne saying, haha. I don't know if that was in relation to paddle. I don't have Leanne on my.
Yes, Anissa, Leanne is a colleague of ours and a very good friend of Michael's. And we were hoping that she would come on with Michael today, but maybe in the near future when she's ready. We would love to have her on. So yes, it was in relation to paddle.
Michael, I wanted to gauge what the story is in connection with. Let's bring our life alignment in relation to our money story, or into our story of abundance versus lack. How does this work, and how do you then go back to connect those money stories or that conditioning related to money? A similar way, or is it a different approach when it's not connected to a person?
Well, we have to find out, first of all, what the story is around money. So now let's say someone comes into the process and saying, I'm poor all the time, I've got no money, I can't make ends meet. Okay, we find out, okay, that's the situation currently. Where did this begin? And we go back and we find out we began, it was 10 years old and mom said, no, we can't afford that. Put it back. You know, or dad said so. Or mom and dad said, we're not going on holiday. We can't go this year because there's no money. You know, or mom and dad doesn't spend a cent and hold all the money, so there's no enjoyment in life. So we find out whatever that little incident was that triggered a belief system that we're carrying with us all the way through. So we find out, okay, mom and dad can't afford this, so we're poor. Now I'm carrying that poverty, we call it a poverty consciousness, with us throughout life. So even if money comes into our world, we can't see it or appreciate it because of the consciousness that we have. So we kind of have to then go back and let's correct that belief system. Let's correct it into I have enough, I have more than enough. And let's bring it into the present. So now we're living life into I have enough, I'm taken care of, money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and we're carrying on like that. And then the prayer that we can say with that is not of thank you for, please God, I need money, because that's like enforcing the poverty and it's enforcing the lack. The prayer becomes like, thank you for all the money that I have right now.
Wow, that's powerful.
And then it's appreciating the money. It's appreciating, and then it's not only always appreciating the money. You've got to appreciate everything you have, and even more gets given. So it's like
wow. So it's the sentiment around what you appreciate. So if you're showing gratitude, more will be coming your way. You know, it's so simple, but it's not simple in the daily practice because even what you said earlier on, like we're not going on holiday, or the parents have behaviors of not spending money, or the mom says there's something as simple as we can't afford that now, but that child's conditioning is we are poor. And so it starts there. That is very interesting.
Yeah,
very
so
interesting.
And then what happened as what we could call support for after the session, homework if you want, whatever it is. Something like, I always like to do something like catching yourself. So you're catching yourself in a different thought or in a belief system. So you're catching yourself saying, oh, I can't afford that. No. Thank you, God, for the money to being able to afford that. So if you can get good at catching yourself constantly, that just facilitates a deeper shift. And so you just are so aware of that belief system. And then the minute you become so aware of the gratitude of everything you have, and that then becomes your dominant belief system or your dominant life operating system, then you can't not have money. It's impossible. It's just there. Everything's there. It's always there.
You know, Jamila, do you remember Rashad, right? Rashad always used to say, the highest form, gratitude is the highest form of receivership. So if you're in gratitude, you've already received, even if it hasn't yet manifested or realized. And I think this is sort of the testament of what you're describing here right now. And I like that you say the prayer. You know, it's that being in abundance rather than being in scarcity and lack and in poverty. You called it something, the poverty cycle?
Poverty consciousness.
Poverty consciousness. So yeah, that's been very interesting for me today.
And then, you know, it's a process. People say affirmations don't work, and yes, they probably don't work because let's say you are dealing with something like I need more money. Then the affirmation becomes I'm rich, wealthy, abundant. Right. I'm rich, wealthy, abundant. And we can say that until we're blue in the face, and absolutely nothing is going to change because we have to take it to the next level. We first then have to feel rich, wealthy, and abundant. So as I'm saying, I feel rich, wealthy, and abundant, and I really feel it in my whole being, in my body. It starts to tickle. I'm like, I'm rich, wealthy, and abundant. I get shivers. That's how powerful it is. Then we do that for so long until it becomes our belief. And only when it becomes our belief does the affirmation work.
Yeah.
So it's a whole process that we have to go through. And just saying it once or twice for 3 days is not going to do the job.
Yeah, and I think, Michael, it's just what Love Alignment has taught me is that it's given me the awareness of that. And it's given me the awareness of energy. There's energy in anything and everything. We are energy in
Mm,
ourselves, right?
mm,
And when we start to look at money, for example, as energy, then we start to look at where those energy blockages are within us, and we are with that awareness, we are able to break those down and create that flow within ourselves. But like you said, it's creating that awareness and allowing yourself to give yourself the permission to accept it, to be worthy of it, to be worthy of having it.
yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
that's a big one that I think alignment has shown me. It's taken me into the space where I become aware of this, and it's that catching yourself moments, that are now constant thoughts in your mind. It's not just something that you've lived with for years and years, where you feel like, oh, it's not for me, it's always for someone else. That type of lifestyle isn't for people like us, because
Mm,
that's something, a programming that you've been given from the time you little. Well, at least for me, everybody else um was worthy of living that type of lifestyle isn't for me. But when you start to change your perspective and look at it from an energetic point of view, then you're able to release all those blockages within, which you so beautifully do, and raise that awareness and raise that flow, which then just keeps on bringing it back to you, I suppose.
absolutely. And you know that when you understand, when you see, when you feel, and when you grasp the concept that everything truly is energetic, everything truly is energy, you can actually, just as you experience on the bed, you can actually feel that stuckness and blockness. And when that gets released, there's that energy that just rushes through the body, which is
Yeah.
really, really powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we get to realize that, it's just like it's a game changer.
Absolutely. And it's not just something that you spiritually feel or emotionally feel or whatever, you actually physically feel it in your body, whether it's goosebumps or you just feel something like this weight has been lifted off you. It's,
Mm.
it's, it's, it's actually a real thing that you go through and
Yes,
experience.
yes. And you know, that's the other thing is that people think there's spirituality or is so out there. But it's
Yeah.
actually just so normal and natural. It's how you make your coffee, it's how you drink your water, it's how you just become attuned and aligned to the world around you, and especially the world inside you. So if you don't know how to do that by yourself, you there's no harm and shame in finding people to help you do that. If it's a yoga
Yeah.
teacher, Reiki master, whatever.
Yeah. I think for me, spirituality is just being mindful in every simple aspect of our life.
Mm.
Because that's what creates awareness. That's what creates the gratitude, and just takes us into this different space of appreciation.
Yeah, completely. I think it's the Dalai Lama that said his religion is kindness.
Yeah,
And you know, the very first time I heard that, it made such a huge impact.
mm,
And from then, it's just like, how can I be kinder to people? But more importantly, how can I be kinder to myself? And
correct.
Life Alignment just helped me to bring in, to get into that space of even recognizing what kindness actually is and realizing it's not some soft thing that we do to our kids. It's something really profound and something so valuable. And when we're kind to ourselves and to each other, basically loving ourselves and each other, it's going to be such a shift in our lives and for the universe and the world.
You know, we're just warming up right now, and
Oh,
I'm
nice.
so
Is it maybe almost, oh, it's always an hour. Wow.
time's almost up, and I'm like wanting to know more, and
I know.
we're sort of delving and dabbling into the stuff now that, you know, I think makes it's tying it all together. You cannot be in a grudge state towards yourself or others and extend kindness, empathy, love, and compassion. And we
Yeah.
know that our brains are designed to be in that hypervigilant state. So if we shift out of our head, I suppose, into the alignment, and I almost feel there is, and I might be wrong, and I'm not a specialist in chakra healing or the energy centers, but the heart being at the center. Michael, would you say that it's coming more into our heart space and living from there, which then gives us that alignment rather than being in our head space?
Oh, that's my favorite topic. That's what I speak on. That's just, yeah, the cherry on the cake. Helping people, and especially in the sessions, helping them get from year to year is key. It's life completely flips over.
Mm.
And even in the session, when they get stuck in their head, and I would often say, no, come here. And the minute they come there and they feel into their body, into their heart, there's almost something just breaks down. All those patterns, the beliefs that are stuck in the mind, in the head, just get dissolved. And then they come into this heart space. And you feel, it's a Jamila and other people, when that heart begins to expand, and sometimes open, even on the very first session. But when that heart slowly starts to expand, there is no way that life can ever be the same again. And when you crack open that seal and just learn to feel and have empathy and live life with compassion and in alignment with that space, gee whiz, it's such a beautiful place. Then
Mm.
you'll understand gratitude, grace, and everything that your podcast is all about.
Yeah, so heart for me is coming from source. Heart for
Yeah,
me is no matter what your religion is, it's coming into your soul essence. It's coming into
absolutely.
that divine authenticity, understanding that we are truly a gift, and everyone else with us is also a gift, because that
Mm,
heart and that soul is what unites us all. But in the
yes.
head, it's the attachments, it's the struggle, the suffering, the grudge, the projections, the fears, the doubts, when we're in the dead zone of our lives, I would call it. But in the
Yeah.
heart makes us alive. It makes us want to feel. It's the feeling state, and the head is the thinking
Mm.
state. So I am absolutely looking forward to meeting you in person and to be in your
Yeah.
presence,
Yeah.
to
Yes.
feel that energetic vibration that I'm sure will emanate quite brightly in a room with you. I mean, Jamila is smiling like from ear to ear there. Like I can see just from her. And I've heard that this is a very, very powerful modality, and I'm looking forward to learn more.
Yeah, thank you. It's been great. I want to say that Jamila and the crew at the Shift Happens are just such amazing people. It was just so easy to teach them. They're open and so vibrant. I don't know if people know more about their talks that they have every month, but if they haven't been
Mm,
to one, you should go. Lovely speakers, lovely connections. I just love hanging around like-minded people.
mm. I think
Thank
because it's energy, the universe brings us all together, right? So I'm very grateful, Jamila. I want to say thank you, Michael was meant to be here today and probably many more days to come in our podcast. I think Sinead that is left a comment there. Great conversation and very insightful Friday thinking. Thank you for sharing, she says. So definitely, I think more people need to know about this modality, even though it's been around for a long time. I think we need to create more awareness. So your colleague, hopefully she comes on board the next time around with you
Yes.
onto the segment.
Yeah, that would
Yes,
be
I
great.
think we'll manage by next year sometime to convince Leanne to come on as well.
Yeah.
But Michael, I think that maybe we can just leave Michael's details in the chat as well for anyone
Yeah.
who would like to contact Michael. I would strongly, strongly advise it. Honestly, this has just been a wonderful, wonderful gift to have had you introduced into my life, and not just my life but my son's life, because you've made such a huge impact, Michael. So I'd just like to take this opportunity again to thank you for that. And for our listeners out there, if you're having any issues in your life, I do implore you, please reach out to Michael, and experience this shift for yourself. And
Mm.
that
Thank you.
extend to you as well, Anissa. So
Well,
hopefully,
on that note, Michael, when are you coming to Cape Town? Because
Oh,
if you
wow.
say you are, I can certainly coordinate that a group of us comes together. So there's your
Wow,
invitation to come to Gordon's
fantastic.
Bay, Cape Town.
I'll be there. I'll be there. Just
Yes,
let me
fantastic.
I
that'd be
can't
great.
wait. I can't wait. So I'm very excited. And I think I'm going to create that call to action sooner than later. Let's think about a time in January. I know it's your festive time and people are kind of just taking a break and a reprieve, but I do think that let's get a date for Jan and make an official um, event that we set up here and we
Let's
gather
do it.
like-minded souls together.
And we'll do another one to coincide in Johannesburg, Jamila.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And not to forget, Michael, our conference. We've had many guests on come before you, and they've come from far and wide across the globe. And all
Mm.
of them have expressed interest in coming to South Africa. So we are planning, as I have mentioned to you, to have a conference where shift happens,
Yes.
and you'll be one of the keynote speakers at it.
Fantastic. I'm there already.
Something to look
Michael,
forward to in the
anything
new
you
year.
want to leave as a final closure? I want to give you the last word in terms of your golden nugget you'd like to leave the audience with.
I would I would say that there's a flow in life. There's what we call a stream of consciousness that's continually flowing. And it's our job, our role to come into this life to find out how we can get into that stream and stay in that stream consciously, because we're always in it. So we're always in the stream, but we're always fighting it or not sure about it. And the minute we can just align with what's going on inside ourselves, that heart, that truth, that purpose, and that connection to source, the minute we get there and we enter into that stream, life is just going to take us on such a journey. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. You're going to meet the most amazing people. You're going to meet the most incredible experiences. It's going to be such a completely different experience than what you had before. So take the time to work on your stuff, get rid of your patterns. There's no time for anger and resentment and hatred and oh God, leave that in the 80s. Let's move along. Let's go into a space of joy, of freedom, of connection, of being with like-minded people, of building up a new society and a new space that we can all thrive. And we don't have to worry about money problems and issues and all that type of stuff. Because is in the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, the author of The Game of Life and How to Play It, she just says that we should just ask that everything that is ours by divine birthright come into our life now under grace and in perfect ways. So thank you.
On that note, we're going to end. Please do stay on for a short debrief. We will see you again next week, and we are looking forward to it. Thank you once again, Michael, on my part. Goodbye, everyone. That's here on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, Jamila and Michael.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anissa. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on and at such short notice as well, and just giving us so much beautiful information that we want to learn even more.